Hello, welcome, greetings. It's following on. We're freezing. John Norman alongside Jeremy Coney on the talkSPORT balcony, newly named. We've just seen another terrific day, haven't we?
Yes, we're right.
Just seen
The Royal Wave.
The Royal Wave. We've just seen another terrific day of cricket, and we're going to start this show not by looking back, as we normally do it following on at the start of the show. We're going to look forward because we're trying to work out, the permutation. How can day 4 and day 5 go? Because it just feels like we've had a really good test match, and we could be treated by another Headingley classic here.
The possibilities are there, aren't they?
I think so.
I mean, just to make one point about today, you said it was a terrific day, and it was. When we started the day, England batting, they had to really make sure that they didn't concede a large deficit of runs in the first innings to India, because that would then determine and pull time and that out of the game for England perhaps to use the fourth innings and maybe on the fifth day.
Yeah.
Let's say the first thing to say is that they achieved that.
They did.
Right. So then we get to the second innings, and now England are trying like mad to dismiss India in the second innings, either very quickly, which could happen tomorrow. At the moment they're 2 down for about 100 ahead, and if they are able to take wickets tomorrow in the first and second session, it is conceivable that then they could be chasing runs in the third session and into the last day of the game. That's a possibility.
That is.
They would have to do what they did in the first innings a little bit once they achieved perhaps an early breakthrough or so, that they would have to claim some sort of collapse, I think, in order for that to happen.
Rabbit pie.
That's one scenario or narrative that could happen. The other one is that India survive, and you would think for that to happen it would be the top order who would have to again get what happened in the first innings of this match, and it would have to be Gill and it would have to be Rahul, because Jaiswal's already dismissed.
Agreed.
So if that happens, and Rahul in particular has to play a long, solid kind of innings, Gill pretty much the same. He didn't take too many risks when he got that 140 in the first innings. Punt will do his thing, I think.
I reckon.
And then we're down into Nair. We don't know.
Nope.
We know Jadeja can bat. But can he bat long enough? And then there's some question marks about the rest of the order. So it has to be those top players, as far as I can see at the moment, who are going to have to make significant contributions to push this game into the first 2 sessions tomorrow, 100 each session, around about. That would then be a lead of 300, and then it depends on wickets, doesn't it, what's happened. Can they push England into a fifth day needing 300 plus? That's the issue, isn't it?
I think I was really impressed by India's resolve and ticker in that final session, because they came out. You know what it's like when you're ahead of a game and comfortably ahead, quite far ahead, and then suddenly you're not,
and then it's plucked away from you.
And
there's disappointment, isn't there?
There's disappointment, and it's a gear change in mentality, and then fear and a little bit of embarrassment comes into things, and then as soon as you're thinking like that, your confidence is dropped, and it's difficult. And KL Rahul and Jaiswal came out to bat. A first innings lead of just 6 runs, a paltry 6. What a one scoring shot. That is all that separated the two teams. All of that after they were 430 for 3 and 3 centurions in the top 5. And here we are. One scoring shot separates the teams. And they went out with the England bowling attack licking their lips, knowing that they couldn't bowl. They bowled brilliantly on day 2, not less so on day 1. Conditions seemed to favour the bowlers. It was, as it has been for much of today, it was cold, and it was rain in the air, it was gloomy, and they overcame the early dismissal of Jaiswal. And I just thought that the way they went about their business, with KL Rahul in particular impressing, runs were flowing quickly, and they just got themselves out of that horrible position. Siddharthan hadn't gone right towards the back end of the day. You'd actually say India are in a good position, right? Pushing 100 lead with just 1 wicket down.
Yep.
You'd say, in the history of Test cricket, with the team still to bat fourth and going to have to chase, you say India are in a good position here, but we know that England love to chase. We know what this track at Headingley, it does give a little more to the fourth innings than it does anywhere else in the world. So still feel like the game's in the balance. Looking at the run scoring throughout this Test match, 100 runs must have been scored pretty much every session.
Yep.
So I'd say it could happen that England roll them over early on day 4, and then they set 200, and I think they chase that down relatively comfortably. But you're only one Jasprit Bumrah spell away from defeat, of course, every time he's got the ball in hand. But for me, I just got a feeling of the eventualities that you've expertly described. I can see England batting again day 4, just after tea or maybe just before, a target of 300, and we could be set for another Headingley classic like we've seen so many times at this ground. It just feels like that way to me. But
well, it certainly is a possibility tomorrow. It's going to need some good batting from, particularly, we've talked about Rahul.
Yep.
He is, I think, almost a key to this with Gill. Those two, if they don't get going, I think that you'll find that England will brush the others eventually. We might get a surprise. There's always that chance in cricket, but more than likely, if those two don't do the bulk of the scoring for India to set this target and push England a little bit harder, then I think we're going to see an English victory. I think that's more likely. If they can get to a point where they get 350 and they're starting to push those sort of totals because those two have scored well and there's been contributions along the way from others, then I think we're into a real classic, because we know England are going to go for this.
They'll go for 400, won't they?
They'll go for 400 in the last day.
Yeah.
Out of 80 overs at 5s. And India will not want to lose this game. They've got their 470. They're disappointed. They've got Bumrah playing for them. And they do not want to lose one of those 3 tests where Bumrah's played. So I just feel if they are capable of doing that, well, we've got a cracker on our hands. So either way, it's going to be an interesting, day tomorrow. Can India get runs? Can India, hold on and hold on and hold on and push this total out? So it's a teaser.
It is a teaser. Before we get Harmy in, I just want to ask you about Harry Brook today. You've seen a lot of him in the last 6 months or so.
Have so,
There were a few chances that went down.
And when I last saw him too.
Christchurch, right?
That's right.
4 went down at Christchurch. Yeah. Wasn't quite 4, but there was the no-ball wicket late on day 2. Jaiswal put him down on 83. Yeah. And there was a tough chance behind the stump.
And punt.
On 46.
Yeah.
So, there's a message there, isn't there?
Yeah, you hold on to it.
You do.
I mean, he's a dangerous player. He's got all the shots around. I mean, we saw him cutting today. We've seen the pull shot. He'll drive beautifully, but he'll shorten the pitch. He'll go towards the bowler and still has those options and let it go. He'll do that. Not many batsmen do that. I see them going down the pitch to really attack, and they can't stop themselves from actually wanting to hit the ball. He has that other little option. So there's something special about him. He's a great timer of the ball, and he's a dangerous player who can change the course of a game. So that's a bonus for England, isn't it?
Absolutely. Jeremy, thank you.
Pleasure.
Get inside.
I shall.
Harmy, who's wearing a jumper and a jacket.
He's got a warmer. He's got someone warming him up. There you go, boy.
I came dressed like this yesterday as well, but I thought it was 30 degrees.
Harmy. Who is the bowler that England will turn to then on day 4? A lead of pushing 100 for India. They seem to. There were periods towards the back end of the day where they started to slow down a bit, but I was really impressed by the way they got their innings off to start in the second innings, because there's a lot of pressure on, but they drove well. they played well, and they scored quite quickly. And as I said to Jeremy just then, if not for the wicket of Sai Siddharthan towards the back end of the day, you'd actually say they're in a good position. In the history of Test cricket, if you're 100 leading by 100, 1 wicket down with 2 days to go, and the team's got to bat fourth and has got to chase ahead of them, you'd say you're going to win more than you lose.
Yeah, I would say 10 years ago you would have said this is a foregone conclusion that India would
win. Yeah,
comfortable.
Crazy, isn't it?
And then Ben Stokes came around and not defied
made everything
logic,
more interesting.
Made it. Believe the possible was possible, and I think there was plenty of dressing rooms, fourth innings, felt that you could probably get, but they didn't believe they could get. And Ben Stokes has instilled a belief in this group that whatever we give, and we'll go and have a red hot go at chasing it. So, that being said, you've got Bumrah, you've got Jadeja on a fifth-day pitch, because if it was a big score, it would be the fifth-day pitch. But England need 8 wickets. Who's the bowler you turn to? Well, you'd hope that Wokes would. The more bowling he gets, the better he get. He showed that last year. We don't want to really bowl too much with the captain, but even that, he looks dangerous to Stokes. I think he was trying a bit too hard tonight. Josh Tongue looked better than he did first innings, and so did Bryden Carr. So I was trying to work out, a little bit earlier if India had just left the ball a lot better and waited for the bad ball, which was less to come, and how they've getting to the 90-odd run lead they've got. But I actually think England bowled better today this afternoon than what they did in the first innings, which is a good sign. But they've got to come up tomorrow and they've got to strike, because they'll probably need at least 4 wickets by lunchtime to have them 6 down. And then I think you can think there's a contest on. If, like this morning, if India are 2 down, 3 down by lunchtime, then all of a sudden that leads now 200, 3 down. That means England will have to chase over 400. And for all the will in the world, I think that would be a bridge too far.
419, chasing down, that could be the target, 419. Yeah, England will go for it, and there's enough time left in the game because they do bat so quickly. Harry Brook today, we just spoke with Jeremy. Obviously, you don't want to be putting him down and giving him that many opportunities, but the crowd was something special when that was such an exciting passage of play. And what I liked as well was at the moment Harry Brook was out, Chris Wokes picked it up, and he started biffing it around as well.
He did, and then Bryden Carson, even Shoaib Bashir's first attacking shot was a pull shot of a bouncer. So, I mean, they're working on the batting, and that's what you need. I think India would love the luxury of having 2 of their bowlers being able to bat like a Carson or Wokes, because then they can get Kuldeep Yadav in their side. So it is great that we've got that depth. I was so pleased for Chris Wokes to get runs, because there's more than Chris Wokes the bowler. There's the experience in the dressing room. There's a calm and influence, and he will get better the more he bowls. But he's a proper batter. He's got 2,000 Test match runs and 150 wickets. The likes of both of them, the likes of Flintoff, Stokes himself, Moeen Ali, Stuart Broad. There's not many more who have done that. So he's a very, very valuable cricketer to England. And the way Harry Brook went about his job, I mean, we talked about it this morning. We were on air, and he was 0 of 14 balls, and you were thinking, his weight transfer's not there. He kept inside edging it, and you're thinking, he's scratching around a bit. And then he was 10 of 16 balls, and he hit a ball which was probably a 75-metre boundary, and he hit it 20 rows back, and that pull shot was just got him going. And then he come down the wicket to Bumrah, and the next over into the ball and banged it straight through extra cover for 4. And you thought, right, we're in for something here. And boy, did we get it. It was a brilliant knock. And some people will say, well, you're on 99. Just tap it round the corner. Just leave it. Do whatever. He got to 99 for a reason. He got a 99 because he played that way. And the thing I love about this lot, and especially Harry, is that they're not bothered about the scoreboard. They see the ball, they make a positive decision. And unfortunately, it backfired, and he's out for 99. But it was a brilliant knock. Yeah,
it was. And it was just surprise all round when he was caught going for that big shot. I mean, Rishabh Pant, I think he's been out in the 90s 7 times or something. 3 of those times trying to hit a 6 to reach 100. And there was shades of that, wasn't there? They were trying to Rishabh Pant out each other, if that makes any sense at all. It's been a long day. It's quite cold as well. Might have mentioned that. Okay then, well, let's wrap things up. Looking ahead to day 4, we have kind of covered it off, but this has been such a magical test match so far. There was 2 or 3 periods of real intense cricket today. There was that period of about 10 overs before the second new ball was taken, when England were within 100 of India's first innings score, and they were going for it, and they were going for it quickly with Jamie Smith and Harry Brook at the crease. And then Jamie Smith was out thanks to that great relay catch on the boundary. And then, when the second new ball was taken, there was another half-hour intense spell where you just saw everything was riding on this, because Siraj and Bumrah were both bowling. And then England kind of got through that bit. It's been a magical test match, but I just got the feeling we're set for something special here. Unless India get rolled tomorrow for, say, they're bowled out by lunch or just after lunch, and England is set 220 or whatever, and you'd back England just to chase that down on that track. But more likely is that England are going to be set around 300, 320, maybe 350. And we're going to end day 4 like we've ended day 2 and 3. We've had India were ahead after day 1. And we still don't really know where this match is going. And it would be a really fitting start to set this 5-match test series up, wouldn't it? It
would. Yeah, it would. And everything you've just described, I think, will probably happen. Apart from, I don't think India will. I mean, India really would kick themselves if they got rolled on that for like a 220.
Yeah.
So it'll be, and that would be an intense passage of play as well if that happened.
Well, exactly. That would be exciting in itself.
In itself, yeah. So I mean, Manners have just touched on it in the Super Over. At what point do England? We've all talked about this. England. I think England there's a little bit of refinement in this coming into this series about the way they talk, about the way they go about their business, a little bit the way they've played, not massively. You can see by Stokes' reaction when he got out, he was disappointed. Would he have been that disappointed if he had nicked a wide one against Sri Lanka last year, West Indies? He would have initially, but I don't think it would have hurt him as much when he's sitting in that dressing room behind closed doors of what this series means and what it means. And the question is, if it becomes 320, 350, and it gets to a point where you're 5 down, at the point of no return, from a winning point of view, will England's refinement go into, right, I know Ben Stokes says, I don't play for draws. I know this team say, I don't play for draws. But the smart player would be, it would still be a positive result if England come away from here at 0-0, then kamikaze lose the game and go 1-0 down. And that for me would be a huge positive and a sign that this team are refining the Bazball way of getting better and going, right, instead of trying to go at 7 and over to win the game's gone, we can't win it at that, but we're not going to be 180 all out like they have done a couple of times in the past and been criticised. England, in some way, England, a positive result for England is to either win the game or draw the game. It's not to lose the game. And that, for me, would be, Bazball refining and getting better. And I think that would be an interesting scenario if that came about. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think that would be the most surprising thing of all, actually.
Exactly, yeah. I thought Ben, you talk about it refining. Ben Duckett, a great line. He's always good for a line. A great line he said yesterday. Jasprit Bumrah bowled that well. I even left one. So that tells you that they're changing a little bit.
They're growing up.
Yeah, they're listening to us.
Never listen to us.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Harmy, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be wearing a jacket like that. Thanks for joining us here on Following On.